We think about each other a lot and not just about ourselves, and I think that is crucial to having a successful partnership and being there for each other even in the worst of times.
This is Entrepreneurs the Playbook, where I give you access each week to the world's greatest athletes and executives about their personal and professional playbook and what has made them champions on and off the field. This is the Playbook. This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur the Playbook, and I'm so excited. I love when I have super women entrepreneurs. Well, I'm gonna get this right. We have Bonnie Micheli and Tracy Roemer, and with Shred415.
Yes.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Now, I gotta get this. How did you guys, first of all, get together? Because I have a rule about partnership, and I'm gonna get into it.
It's an interesting story. So here in Lincoln Park in Chicago, about 12 years ago, I was pregnant with my second child, and I swore I was going to have a boy. So I was on a search for boy names, and we had just moved into a new development, and I walked into our local grocery store who had a Starbucks in the store. And I was standing in line, Bonnie was in front of me, and she was holding her son, who was about a year old at the time, and he was super cute, and she was super cute. So I started chatting her up, and I said, "Oh my God, what's your son's name?" Again, looking for boy names for my unborn son and that I don't have. But I look at her and I said, "What's your son's name?" She says, "Fletcher." I said, "Oh gosh, that's a great name." And so we chatted all through the line, and we parted ways. I went home and I told my husband that I picked out the perfect name for our son, and it's going to be Fletcher. And he said, "Absolutely not." He says, "I have a million other names that I'd rather name our son." And I said, "Okay, great." So I walked out the front door, and in drives Bonnie. Again, we had just moved into this new development. I didn't know anybody, and she drives in, and I said, "Oh gosh, that's the girl I met at Starbucks. I can't name my son Fletcher. That would be so weird." I ended up having another girl. I have 3 girls now, and I named her Samantha. That's a very important part of the story. But we became fast friends, and as our kids were playing in the alleys, Bonnie and I would talk about everything fitness. So I come from a big fitness background. Bonnie was also in the fitness industry teaching classes, and we realized that Chicago was lacking high-intensity interval training. And Bonnie came to me one day and she said, "Would you ever open up your own studio?" And I said it would have to be with the right person, because I'd been in the business for so long, and I said I knew how much it took to run and operate a studio and do it successfully, so I wouldn't want to do it on my own. And she's like, "I'm the right person."
Let's do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, do you guys believe in karma?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Because I do too. Now, there's a rule of partnerships that I have, even though I have a partner myself. Number 1, never get into a partnership. 2, if you do have a partner with more money than you, and if you don't listen to 1 or 2, go back to number 1. Those are the 3 rules of partnership. How do you, now you still neighbors?
6 blocks away.
We're still close. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you deal with the stressful times of being partners?
I think it's, one thing about Tracy and I, when we partnered, we were good friends, and we didn't know each other. I mean, now we're practically sisters, but you never know how it's gonna jive, right? And I think that's part of why Shred415 was so successful off the bat, because we were like yin and yang. Like, whatever I wanted to do, she didn't. What I didn't want to do, she did, right? So it just worked out. And the one thing, I had worked for a woman before who I considered partnering with, and the thing that's great about Tracy is that she wants the best for me and I want the best for her. And I think that is what gets you through the hard times, is that you're in it together, and we think about each other a lot and not just about ourselves. And I think that is crucial to having a successful partnership and being there for each other even in the worst of times.
Yeah. My business partner is a Hall of Famer who's super intense.
Yeah.
And we also are yin and yang. I'm super hyper. He's QB1 Kenobi, really mellow. But we've been partners for so long, we've kind of transformed as one into those personality traits. Have you felt that centering between the two of you, like you've taken on each other's positive traits?
Most definitely, yes. I always say Bonnie can get more done in 1 hour than I can get done in 8
Bonnie,
hours.
give me a high five. That's my trait. I'm in productivity and accessibility. People are like, "How do you do all that?" Where does that come from?
I think from my dad, I think that my family was always like boom, 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 like we just get it done, get it done, get it done. My brothers are that way. I just think it's sort of my family. But I want to say that something I got from Tracy is her being from California, and we opened the studio and I was freaking out. I need to get everything done. Why is everything done? She's like, it's fine. It's going to be great.
Right.
And now I'm like, people come in and they stress out our managers, and I'm like, it's going to be fine. So I feel like I inherited that great quality from her.
That's really good. Now, as women starting your own business, forget partnership stress. Entrepreneurial stress can really get you, especially the first few years. And I'm sure you aren't overnight successes. Day one, people were just flowing into the establishment. What advice would you give to other women entrepreneurs when they're starting their venture?
I would say, one, you have to take the risk. You can't second guess yourself. You can't think about it too much. You just have to do it. I think so many women put too much thought into what's going to happen or all the possibilities of what might not go right, and then they talk themselves out of it. So I would you just have to take the risk.
Yeah, and make sure you have a really good support system. I think that's something that's so great for Tracy and I is our husbands are such incredible supporters of us and us starting a business. And you really have to have someone in your corner, especially if you have kids, so that you can make this happen, because we never could have done it without their support and their help with the kids in the beginning when things were so crazy.
Yeah, my wife is my hero, so
yeah.
We have 4 kids. I had my last boy, but I was like you. I was having a boy each time. It's just, anyway. No, there's a lot of fitness companies out there, and you guys are extremely successful. What do you think your secret sauce is?
Paying attention to the detail and the customers. Customers always come first. Bonnie and I always say we are a yes brand. We say yes to everybody. So I feel like there's so many businesses out there that say no to everyone. No, you can't do this. No, you can't come late. No, you have to show up 30 minutes early. No, you have a sick child. We're still going to charge you, right? We say, absolutely. Your child's sick. We will take you out of class. We'll see you tomorrow when your child's feeling better. Yes, you can come in 5 minutes late. We understand how life gets so crazy. We want everyone to have an enjoyable experience at Shred415 and not feel stressed about working out and feeling angst like, oh my God, I gotta get there because they're gonna give my spot away.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think also being inclusive. So we really want everyone to be able to come to Shred415. You can walk, jog, run. You can pick up your own weights. We have a kids room, so moms can come and bring their kids in the kids room, and dads. I mean, we have so many couples that come after they've had a baby and be like, oh my gosh, we haven't been able to work out together in so long. This is amazing to bring our kids here and be able to work out together.
That's really cool. Now, how many kids do you have, Bonnie?
I have 2.
You have 2, so we have 5 together.
Yes.
One of the things I think about, I do a lot of business coaching with young women entrepreneurs, and they are always asking the same question to me, well, when can I have kids? Right? Because they're entrepreneurial in their 20s now, they start earlier.
Yeah.
And I always say, from a man's perspective, I never worried about it. Like, in my mind, it was like, there's never a good time to have a kid.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna wait. But
never enough money,
everything
never
kind
a good
of, right,
time.
never enough money, for sure. Trust me, I've been rich twice in my life. I have 3 Jewish daughters. Like, there's not enough money in the world. You could dump it all on me and somehow it would all leave me, besides my wife. But it is a big question that young women entrepreneurs have, because they want it all. And I go, why? You're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. Why would my mindset always be, I can have it all, and you as a woman, why having a baby shouldn't be anything? It'll just mold around it. Can you kind of explain how you take on being a mother, being a wife, running a business, which most young women are sitting there go, I can't even run a business. How am I gonna have a family?
Yeah. We were really fortunate. Our youngest had just turned 3 right when we opened up Shred415. So we opened in April and we were counting down the months till they were in full-time preschool. We're like, all our kids will be in full-time preschool. But it's super challenging. I feel like we were really lucky to partner together and already have had our kids. I think that would be a challenge. Like you were saying, there's really no good time to have a child. And we've seen a lot of young entrepreneurs.
Or we can change that to there.
Sorry.
I think it's better to say, it's always a good time to have a child.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at it. No one's stupider than teenagers, and I have 3 daughters that are teenagers, but I think it's the best thing you could ever do, and everything rolls around it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I just think that we've seen a lot of young women in fitness that are entrepreneurs that have their own studios, and you just got to do it. I mean, like you said, your life will mold around it. And I mean, she has 3 kids, I have 2, and right now, 2 of them are teenagers, and we're running them around everywhere. I mean, so even though when you have a baby, it's still hard. Well, when they get older, it's still hard,
Exactly.
right? So you figure it out, and we're having a ton of fun doing it. So
I think Bonnie mentioned at the beginning is that we have 2 very supportive husbands. So I would say my advice to anyone trying to figure out when's the right time to have a child, if you have a good support system and you have a good husband, a good wife, a good marriage, it's all, like you said, there's always a good time, right? Because you always figure it out and you always make it work.
Exactly. And I think having those steady relationships allow you to have this steady relationship, which is also very much like a marriage. I mean, I get teased with my business partner that we're married, and we don't look as much alike as you, but we are like twins. It's really funny because I worry when I'm with him because somehow we end up dressing alike, and then I look like Danny DeVito next to like one of the most handsome men in the world, having a business partner.
Awesome.
Now, I always say make yourself equal, then make yourself better. What's the one thing you think about Shred415 that truly is superior to any other type of fitness program that is out there?
Changing people's lives. It is quite amazing how many people, we actually just did a quick little video about how many lives we have changed, from men to women to young to old, and just how their lives have gotten so much better from Shred415. Bonnie mentioned it too, that we're so inclusive and people feel so comfortable coming to Shred that they just have met their best friends there. They are now vacationing together, the kids are growing up together, they're going on vacation. I know our clients by their children's ages. So like a lot of our clients have come in and started when their children were 1 and now they are 8 or 9. And I'm like, oh my God, you started when she was 1 year old.
That's awesome. Now, there's a reconciliation between your yes people like I am, your how we get it done people, your relationship people, you care about people. It's about changing lives, but it's a business. And reconciling money with that type of passion and purpose is difficult. In fact, I tell people all the time that we should look at profitability first, then find your purpose. Because if your business isn't profitable, and if both your families were going bankrupt, your relationship would be very strained.
Yeah.
And your relationships with your husbands would be very strained.
Right.
True.
How do you reconcile the fact that, hey, this is about being in business? And I get a feeling, Bonnie, you're very driven on the economic side, not to diminish the California people. I was born in Ohio, I'm like this mix, and I've dealt with California people. I have to fly to New York just to get fired up like once a month. Because like California people are like, dude, it'll be fine.
It's all good.
They'll like lull you to death, and they're like super
good.
Geniuses, but somehow they look like they're high all the time. I'm like,
Do I look like I'm high?
No. Just more mellow, right? Sorry. But how do you
awesome.
reconcile making money with this great, it's a beautiful approach and energy that you have to your business?
Yeah, I think we were lucky right off the bat because in the business that we were in, you have 1 instructor for 30 people in a class, right? And so the economics of it worked. I do think it's as we get bigger and we hire more staff, and I do think it's something that we're constantly having to balance because even as leaders in our own company, making sure that people understand that this is a business, and even though we're trying to we are there changing people's lives, and even with our own employees. We have so many employees that have worked up through the ranks of just being clients and having life changes to wanting to work for us, right? And so it is constantly that balance.
We run our business very lean.
Yeah.
We've worked for a lot of major corporations back in the day and saw how money was being spent. We don't spend our money that way, so I don't know if it's a female thing, but...
Oh no, I always thought if you want to curse someone, say, you know what, I hope you're super successful. I have tons of employees and overhead. You kill it, go ahead. That's what I tell people I don't like. Speaking of which, I think the most difficult relationship that I have in scaling my own businesses and helping others scale is employees. And there's a generational gap with employees today. I do something in my office I've done for years, just as called public hanging. So I'll take some of the stronger employees, and if they do something wrong, I'll kind of broadcast the constructive criticism across, so it's real loud, so like other people can learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Right. I call it a public hanging, and I have found that millennials absolutely detest that old school methodology.
Yes.
Like, it is just the worst thing that I've ever done now over the last 10 years. I just have to stop. And I can't help myself because, I've been executive since I was 25. I'm 51 for 26 years.
Right.
And I was worse than publicly hang, in the old days. But then again, my football coach used to grab my helmet and call me bad words, and that was fine too.
Right.
How do you deal with motivating your employees?
So I'll start with our instructors because they're the biggest part of our business.
Who are motivators themselves.
They're motivators.
Yeah.
Bonnie and I knew at the beginning that if we were going to scale our business, we couldn't put ourselves out as the top instructors, right? Because we can't be at every studio teaching all day, every day. So we did a smart thing by elevating our instructors from day one. And we highlight them, we take hot pictures of them, we motivate them, we pay them well. They recognize that they are the number one people in our business.
So appreciation.
Appreciation.
Okay.
Yes, constant feedback too. So we're very big in transparency and we are constantly giving them feedback. So if we get an email from a client who tells us how amazing that instructor is, we absolutely send that email right away to the instructor. And then we also, on the flip side, if we get constructive criticism back about instructor, we say to the instructor, look, we got a little bit of feedback, here's what you need to do to change, and we know you're going to do it and it's going to be amazing.
And after they're done crying,
no, we're so nice about it.
I know, I
Feedback
try to be
sandwich.
nice.
We don't publicate them.
I know, don't humiliate people like I do. No, I do. I've brought some tears on people. It's like having daughters is the worst thing to make your daughter cry. I literally never yell at home, so I could look at my daughters the wrong way and they would cry. That's how sensitive they are to me. My wife screams all the time, they just ignore it.
I know, right?
So Bonnie, how about you with employees?
I think transparency is so important. It kind of goes along with the feedback, but I do think there is a generational gap, and we have had tears in our office before, but I think that, if something's bothering us or we're upset with something, that we immediately talk about it, because we need to talk about it and move on, because this is a business and everyone needs to get better and work their hardest. And so I think transparency is a big part of that.
All right, last question, legacy. So everyone has their own individual legacy and you have a brand legacy. What would the brand legacy be for both of you combined, as I individually ask you what your own individual legacy would be within the brand?
Well, we have a Bonnie and Tracy brand, so I definitely see a legacy left with Bonnie and Tracy. I've never thought about it individually.
Okay.
I know, I don't think I've thought about it individually.
All right, so what's the Bonnie and Tracy legacy?
I think just being strong women that started a business that are focused on health and fitness and bettering people's lives, and I think that would be our legacy.
And supporting other women and supporting strong females coming up through the ranks, so our daughters.
That's awesome. So as a man, and I'm blessed, I'm going to South by Southwest and speaking on the women empowerment, because I think one of the things that get lost as a father of 3 daughters is the importance of your husbands are also about empowering women.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important, just to close, that this world is lacking if we don't have strong women and men who appreciate strong women,
Yes.
not
Yes, agreed.
depreciate.
Yeah.
And so I really, I'm excited because I'd love for my girls to look up to you and to see exactly what you do and how you've done it. I know they're looking at going to Indiana like you went for business school, but I think more young women should look and say, look, I can have it all.
Yes.
Happy marriage,
Yes.
great kids. Be careful, we had 3 daughters when we were done. The minute they all got into school, we ended up having a son somehow. My wife was 42.
It's not happening. I promise you.
That's what my wife
Unless
said.
I adopt, it's not happening.
Never know, God works
It's in our contract. I'm not allowed to have any more kids.
Yeah, God, it sounds familiar to me. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. You got to check out Shred415. Unbelievable. Bonnie, Tracy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you so
On
much.
Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.